What if a house wasn't built with bricks, but engineered like an airplane? What if architecture wasn't rooted to the earth, but suspended, weightless, universal? In 1927, one man asked that question and answered with a prototype, suspended from a mast like a vision from another planet. This is the story of the Dymaxion House. Not just a home, but an idea engineered for humanity. The 1920s thundered with velocity. Skyscrapers rose like exclamation points across city skylines. Roads were filled with the mechanical beat of Model Ts. And above them all, airplanes carved elegant lines through the sky machines of flight and ambition. But beneath this whirlwind of innovation, domestic architecture lagged. While humanity soared, homes remained tethered, conservative in shape, heavy in material, laborious to build. Walls were thick, roofs steep, and plans repetitive. There was no mass production, no portability, just age-old methods layered in nostalgia. And yet it was in this static domestic world that our Buckminster Fuller emerged not to design a house, but to reimagine life itself. Fuller wasn't trained in the traditional sense. He was a misfit polymath, a sailor, a tinkerer, a man as intrigued by boats and sky as by brick and timber. In 1922, personal tragedy would reroute his trajectory forever. His young daughter Alexandra died from complications Fuller believed were exacerbated by poor housing conditions, drafts, dampness, design flaws. Grief drove him to the edge. He stood on the shores of Lake Michigan, contemplating whether his life had meaning. And then something profound happened. A moment of mental clarity, a decision to dedicate my life to discovering how humanity could live better using less. Not just better design, but better systems for life. By 1927, that promise had become architectural theory. Fuller coined a term that would define his approach, Dymaxion, a synthesis of dynamic, maximum, and tension. The Dymaxion House was not a building in the conventional sense. It was an industrial product, a kit, a system. A house meant to be built like a Ford Model T, assembled in factories, packed in containers, shipped to deserts or mountaintops, and assembled in a matter of hours. It was not built for a street, it was built for a planet. Fuller believed the house of the future must be lightweight, mass-producible, self-regulating in temperature, environmentally responsive, adaptable to any terrain, and above all, free from the tyranny of foundation and form. Airplanes became Fuller's greatest influence. They were marvels of structural economy, tension, and compression working in harmony. So, he mimicked them. The Dymaxion House was circular, like a wind tunnel, suspended from a central mast like an inverted tent. No need for foundations. The house could literally hover, resting lightly on Earth. Its walls were not walls, but membranes, aluminum panels wrapped around an open structure. Inside, everything was modular. Rotating closets, prefabricated kitchens, and built-in furniture that followed radial logic. A passive ventilation system, years ahead of its time, pulled cool air from below and expelled hot air from above. No HVAC, no waste. And it could be built, Fuller claimed, in less than 48 hours, by anyone, anywhere. But vision needs production. Fuller spent years developing models, speaking at universities, drawing blueprints. Finally, after World War II, his moment came. Aircraft companies were desperate to repurpose their factories. Fuller approached Beech Aircraft Company in Wichita, Kansas, and in 1945, they built the first full-scale Wichita Dymaxion House. It glistened with brushed aluminum. Its frame was taut and elegant. It stood like a landed spacecraft, part pod, part pavilion. But the dream hit turbulence. Public reaction was polarized. Some marveled at its ingenuity, while others recoiled. It didn't look like a house. It looked like a UFO alien, circular, foreign. It lacked the familiar pitched roof, the charming porch, the comforting silhouette of a suburban home. Builders didn't know how to market it. Investors hesitated. The public, accustomed to the cultural memory of home, found it unsettling. Some called it a tin can on stilts. Others feared its alien aesthetic, imagining it vulnerable in storms or unwelcoming in a neighborhood. In truth, it was simply too far ahead, too radical, a new operating system in a world still booting up on old hardware. Only 2 were ever built. But for Fuller, the Dymaxion House was never just about shelter. It was a seed. He went on to explore Dymaxion cars, Dymaxion deployment units for the military, the Dymaxion map that showed the world without distortion, and most famously, geodesic domes. His ideas were networked. The house was a node. The dome, the car, the city, they were all components of an alternate future. He wasn't designing structures, he was redesigning civilization. The Dymaxion House embodied key philosophical ideas that still echo. That architecture must liberate from land, from labor, from excess. That design should be anticipatory, solving tomorrow's problems today. That housing is a right, not a privilege. That systems thinking, not stylistic obsession, is how we respond to planetary crises. Fuller dared to ask, what if design was not about aesthetics, but about ethics? To change something, build a new model that makes the old one obsolete. The Dymaxion House didn't conquer the suburbs, but it didn't need to. It was a philosophical prototype, a metaphor with steel ribs, a challenge to architects and citizens alike. What does it mean to live lightly? What does it mean to live intelligently? What does it mean to live globally? But what happens when architects take this same ambition, not just to reimagine homes, but to reimagine entire cities? In our next episode, we explore a radical experiment. Can architecture redesign society itself? Subscribe to Space Shape and Scale and click into the next story in our chronological journey through the evolution of modern architecture. Because architecture doesn't just build history, it writes it. And the story is far from over.